C. Morrigan says follower notifications. You should be getting notified if you opt into it when you choose to follow Twitch. They allow you to sort of have pretty granular control over what kind of inbound messaging you receive. So some folks like to follow channels and only have a couple of them tweet them when they go live, or not tweet them, but email them or give them a notification. And if that's you, you have the option to do that, but you also have the option to not have that happen if you don't want to get spammed with a bunch of notifications or whatever. So I think perhaps maybe that's what you're seeing, Seymour Ragu, is just you're not getting them. I am getting them because I want to know when people are streaming on DDO Stream. So, for example, anyone who's got a show, every time you go live, it gets pinged to my Gmail, personal email account. And I've been trying to use that to keep on top of things as well. Hey, DDO Trojan. Greetings from the United States to Ireland. Ireland is a wonderful, wonderful place. Let's see. Virtual Gib has a question about Arcane Archer Ranger's paralyzing shot. Why is it that a DC-17 and Envenomed Blade will paralyze things that a DC-26 paralyzing arrow will not? That is a very good question. The answer is it probably should not, because if it is a paralyzing effect with a DC of 17 for one and a DC of 26 for the other, then the 17 should not proc paralyze as much as the 26 under general gameplay conditions. So I don't know if we have perhaps an issue with Envenomed Blade, where it is, my suspicion might be, that Envenomed Blade may be being overly generous with its DC save. But I don't know that for sure, because I'm just reading this now. But that would probably explain the dichotomy there that you're running into. But I'll look into it, see what we have. Perhaps even while we wait, I can just do a quick, let's see, I have got my bug database. We typed up Envenomed Blade. Let's see what we got. I don't see an immediate active bug about a DC issue with Envenomed Blade. Let's try Arcane Archer. Oh, now I'm running into some slowness because of our internal thing. Yeah, sorry, I don't really see an immediate bug that's popping out. I'd have to dig deeper into like keywords and things like that to see if it's in our system. But it sounds like maybe something that is worth sending in a bug report on by going to bugs.turbine.com. Okay, global announcement. Yes, let's talk a little bit about the Mimic Hunt. Civic Spoon asks a question. Global announcement for the Frenzy going to be up, or is it too late because there are only 4 days left? Yes, it is too late, unfortunately, to get that issue fixed for this particular Mimic Hunt. However, the Mimic Hunt will be making a return. And, this is the debut of the Mimic Hunt, so clearly we have a couple of things to work on, one of them being the world broadcast. I would expect that to be corrected for the next time the Mimic Hunt is available. And there's a few other tweaks that I think we're going to make as well. Maybe, perhaps a little bit of the numbers, some of the spawn rates, some of the way the collectibles sort of go and all that. Maybe a certain thing with a certain bank robbery. Either way, you know what, with all the stuff with the Mimic Hunt going on right now, the core thing is just enjoy it. If your particular way of having lots of fun in the Mimic Hunt is to make the coin lords very unhappy, then hey, we're just gonna roll with it for this time around. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna stay in the future. So I guess that's really about all we'll say on that at this point. But you're right. So basically, for those who don't know, the Mimic Hunt debuted, and it runs through March 8th, so it runs through the weekend. It'll be shot off probably late morning Eastern time on Monday morning, It could be as early as mid-morning Eastern time. And what it is just an event where there's a chance for the chest to have mimics. And part of that is that after a certain amount of mimics are killed, there's a message that goes out to the entire server where there's a 15-minute mimic frenzy where every chest in the game becomes a mimic. And right now that global broadcast is not happening. So the way you find out that the mimic frenzy is going on is suddenly there are lots of mimics. And then folks are letting each other know in guild chat and general chat and that sort of thing. That is absolutely a bug, and something we will be working on, for the next time the Mimic Hunt debuts. Otherwise, what are you guys thinking about the Mimic Hunt? I know, we see some, complaints and criticisms on the forums related to, drop rates and card rarity and all that sort of thing. Some people are less a fan of sort of getting random cards than others, that kind of thing. And that's all perfectly valid feedback. Appreciate you guys letting us know about that. But at its core, you guys having fun. I know I am. And so are most of the people I've been in game with. I've been popping in on the servers for the past week, and just about everywhere I've gone, I've been getting tells, hey, awesome event, awesome event. So even if it's got a few rough spots here on its initial debut, it's looking like we're looking pretty good in this event overall. So. Jaren Aron asks, do we have an ETA on when the Temple of Elemental Evil might hit Lamania? Not a direct ETA, because we are currently working quite hard on it. So just to give you a little bit of a sense of the timeline as to where we sit on Temple of Elemental Evil, it's for Update 25, which will be our next update, and we're generally getting around that range where players who have gotten used to our cadence of releases are starting to expect things to happen fairly soon. We are running just... I don't know, it's not even fair to say we're running behind. We're running on schedule, but our schedule has been shifted out slightly due to all that snow that Massachusetts had since the start of the year. There were, like a week? At least a week full of work days that just had to get canceled because of all the heavy snow in the Boston area. And that is virtually 1 week of development time for the entire DDO team. So they're getting playing a little catch up here to get this going as quick as we can. So some of our unannounced sort of tentative timeframes have kind of had to shift around a little bit. So the same goes for getting it on Lamania. Because basically what happens is the development gets to a certain point, we do all of our internal playthroughs and run-throughs and stuff that has to happen, and then eventually we get it onto Lamania, and then usually a few weeks to a month or so later it goes to the live servers under a typical scenario. And I think we're going to be more on the few weeks rather than the month plus on Lamania here, just due to that compressed time frame that we're sort of finding ourselves in the middle of due to Mother Nature and other things like that. So yes, we are getting onto Lamania shortly. It will be this month. Our current plan is fairly soon. This weekend we have PAX East, so we're all pretty busy in the office. It could perhaps be... I don't want to give a date because it could end up something will come up and we'll be wrong. But I would say a couple weeks. Let's say a couple weeks, and then it'll be on Lamania, and it'll have a fairly compressed time frame. We do want to get your feedback, absolutely, and so we want to make sure we bake enough time to be able to react to that feedback. But we are having a bit more of a compressed schedule. So it's going to be a little less time for that feedback. And that's just sort of the reality of the world we're living in right now. But we are cranking through Temple of Elemental Evil, and it's looking good. I guess I could let you guys know that this week we had another developer playthrough of the Temple of Elemental Evil in our internal working environment, and I was a part of that. And it was looking real good. There's still work to be done, right? So there's like, oh, that wall doesn't exist yet. Most come that monster has 1 hit point, that kind of stuff. But we're getting there. It's a lot of progress. It's looking pretty pretty good. And, you know, it's kind of funny. There's actually a long saying in game development for those who follow video game development, maybe even on IGN or GameSpot or that kind of thing. You'll often hear the phrase that the final 80% of what makes a good video game happens in the last 20% of the work. And to some extent, that's a bit of a a million things can happen. But there is some truth to that, where things often come together at the very end, because you've got people working on, say, the music, the art, the animations, the dungeon design, the layout, the enhancements, just everything that's going into the update. And these things sort of start real spread out, because people are working on them on their desks, they're working on their internal development environments and builds and all that. And then things get merged and changeless get made, and builds get propped to various servers and all that sort of thing. But it tends to be kind of a process where a lot of those final pieces, the dungeon master voice, the final audio, the monster statting on hit points, things like that, tend to come in fairly late in the process. Not actually just always that far from when it goes to Lamania. A lot of times it's earlier than that, but not always. And so Temple of Elemental Evil is in a really good state right now, but we do still have another, surely, a little bit of work yet to do on it before it's ready to go to Lamania. So that's really where we sit on Temple right now. But everything that I saw, looking good. So hopefully you guys will be getting the opportunity to see that in Lamania very soon. And, frankly, we want to get this out to the live worlds as soon as we are able, so I don't think we're necessarily too far off. But it's going to Lamania first. Alright, so let's get to the next question here. Psycho Magi asks, is there an unknown or known issue with XP gains during more XP weekends? My brother is VIP and I am not, and both of us notice a discrepancy with the karma gains in XP versus the regular gains in XP during the last more XP weekend. The karma did not gain the benefits that the regular XP bar did. The karma bar, so for those who maybe are not into the epic levels yet, that karma XP bar relates to one of the spheres for the epic destinies, divine, arcane, that kind of thing. And that goes up to 6-some million. And you use that to epic reincarnate. That has to be capped out in addition to some other stuff. So what this person is noticing is that, one, there was a special VIP bonus XP weekend, because VIP typically get plus 10%, and there can be weekends like we had a couple weeks ago where it was up to plus 15%. They did not notice that karma gain with that extra 5%. That is news to me. I would hate to say that I don't know. But you are seeing the XP gain and the regular XP bar, so if it's not perhaps just a math error or something like that, and is more something a little more systemic, we'll have to look into that and put in a bug and get that looked at. But I don't actually know what the status of that is because it's news to me. So, but that doesn't mean someone else here doesn't know what's going on. I just don't. Interesting though. So in general though, the VIP XP bonus is supposed to work with XP gains like that. And as a matter of fact, even works with the Stone of Experience. Typical world events do not. Like those XP bonus weekends typically do not. But the VIP one does. Alright, back in chat, Psycho Mage asked, there was also an issue with Ranger Artificer not having Harper Tree unless you reset all the trees at least once. Is that a known issue yet? That has not been my experience. I have an Artificer who has the Harper Tree, and I did not reset my enhancement trees. So whether that's maybe a inconsistent bug or something else, I just don't know. I haven't run into that. So no, it's not a known issue, because it's not in the known issues list, and because it hasn't come to my attention to add it. So as far as I know, it's working. but I could be wrong. Like I said, I have someone who's fully into the Harper tree, and did not reset my enhancements. So, all right, let's see. Bacardi Specialist says, an endgame elitist stream would be nice, but the no idiot prerequisite makes that impossible. You know what? I'll give an exception to an endgame elitist stream if you are both an incredible endgame elitist and a total jerk. As long as you can sort of follow the guidelines, perhaps you could be the guy everyone loves to hate. Was the old the Morton Downey Jr. talk radio show? Remember that? Guess I'm dating myself, but perhaps you can be that. But you know, like I said, get in touch with me if you think that you'd actually like to stream. I'm pretty open to trying stuff. So, all right. Serena asks, I have a question. The 3 free months deal for VIP, for those of us who bought VIP last year when that was the option, will that automatically take effect when our subscription time is up, or will we be left out of the deal because of the dates of the offer? So for those who don't know, we have a 15-month for 12 deal with VIP, and I would need to check to see if that's still going on. Again, I can't access my own websites from work, so someone else will have to tell me, but I think so. And the question is, how does that work in regards to subtime? So you can purchase that at any time that you want to, and what'll happen is it'll extend out your end date. So even if you've, say, bought a year or more of VIP bonus and you want to take advantage of that deal, presumably because you know that, you know, you'll be playing, so hey, might as well get a nice discount, huh? Then you can purchase that at any time and it'll extend out your end date. And it works just like any other VIP extension. It just sort of takes place at that time. So no, you won't be left out of the deal because of the dates of the offer. You can apply it, take advantage of it whenever you'd like to, and it'll simply apply to the end date of your VIP subscription. DDO Trojan asks, any info on the ranged revamp? My bowers are salivating. Only to the extent that it's going to be an ongoing process. We will get some, I think, into update 25, particularly in regards to ranged power. I think we're going to see some work there. But a lot of this is going to depend as to exactly what gets fixed when and checked in when and all the rest. So some of it may get pushed out a little bit, but absolutely I would expect to see at least a little bit of that. I think what we're going to see, though, with this is a little different from what we saw last year. You know, you may remember last year we had, like, say, the armor up update in particular, where people like, this is the paladin thing, you know. This is the bard thing. I think we're going to see range to take place over a longer period of time and be more of an ongoing process. But that said, I would expect to see at least a few bits of that certainly make it into update 25. I'm just checking our chat stream here. Wow, you guys are chatting larger than I can keep up with you. All right, let me see what we're actually looking at here. Yeah, we're still working on maintenance. Our IT departments continue to work on what has been identified as an internal routing issue. There is no ETA for resolution at this time. I do apologize for that, but we will keep you updated on our social media as soon as we can get the worlds open, and who knows, maybe we'll even be here. So, Dido Trojan asks, any green hats in the DDO store for the 17th of March? A luck bonus would be appropriate? I don't know. I don't think we have green hats, but we have lucky caps that have... Oh yeah, they're green, aren't they? Yeah, they're green. Whatever we have, I'm going to double check with Tolero, and we'll make sure that anything that might fall within a certain holiday in which the color green is often celebrated would have its non-denominational equivalent available in the DTO store. Confucius says, failing on a 1 probably happens. Yes, it happened to me this morning. So I do apologize, by the way. I realize that I'm now a half hour into the stream and haven't actually addressed this yet. Sorry for not announcing the downtime today for Dungeons & Dragons Online and Asheron's Call. A certain someone forgot to announce it yesterday. So I don't know if you've ever done this at your own work or equivalent of whatever you do at work, but I woke up this morning, my alarm goes off at 7 a.m. I woke up this morning and I look at my phone and see a bunch of emails, and I'm like, oh yeah. And just that sinking feeling. You know, have you ever had that dream where you're going to school or whatever, and then you look down and realize, oh my gosh, I don't have any pants on? That was me this morning, because I didn't announce the downtime, and I apologize for that. So that was a great way to start the day. I do apologize. I rolled a 1. I rolled a 1. But nonetheless, we are undergoing some maintenance, and we will keep you updated. So, and I will endeavor to not do that again. But frankly, you know, we got PAX East this week and all this sort of thing, so I've been just cranking away at work. And yesterday, I was just heads down at my desk tearing through work, and just totally skipped my brain. So. Russell 535 asks, I have a question. Do Jewels of Fortune affect drop rates of named items from a chest? No. What a Jewel of Fortune does is it increases the CR of the chest. So if you have a level 10 chest and a +2 loot bonus, then it will be a CR 12 chest for the purposes of rolling on the loot tables. However, in most cases, there may be a few exceptions out there just due to the breadth and history of content in DDO, but in most cases, the drop rates of named items are based on percentages, or otherwise, you know, incorporated into sort of the rules of the dungeon. And so it doesn't directly impact your ability to get a named item. But there are some exceptions where it does. And it certainly can increase your ability to get things that you would use to make those items, and particularly in the terms of items with crafting and that. But generally, with some exceptions, directly relates to a boost of your percentage to get a named item. No, it does not. Alright, let's see what else we got. Leave Envenom Blade alone. It's not doing anything. Leave it alone. Yeah. I liked Envenom Blade. I use it myself. I haven't noticed, though, that the DC was proccing, like, super high, but maybe I'm just not noticing it. So, Are we seriously considering containers for potions and scrolls? Zoki asks. Yes and no. No. More no. But it is something that came up on the Players' Council. It's something that I know that we have heard from the community, I think, about quite a bit, that they would like to be able to have those things, even if they could not necessarily, if they had to manually pull them from the case. And I think when an opportunity comes up in our development time frame to look at that kind of thing, it's certainly something that I'm going to express the community's interest in from a community perspective and say, hey, players want this and they're okay if X. And we'll see what happens there. So no promises, and certainly not on any of our immediate development time frames. But you know, we have heard that recent chatter. So if we do have an opportunity in the future to look into that kind of thing, then yes, it may well influence that decision making. Okay. Psychomage, I asked, bank robbery? What are you talking about? See, the Coin Lords, actually House Kandara controls the Kandaric Bank, but they're in cahoots really with the Coin Lords. And they probably don't like people just going in and randomly stealing their stuff over and over. And yeah, I mean, the people stealing the stuff are pretty happy about it, but I'm kidding. It's fine. It's fine. Enjoy it. If that's what you want to do, enjoy it. At least for now, but it may get changed in the future. So basically we're talking about a relatively newfound and popular way to get your lost motes in the Mimic Hunt. And that is by running a quest that may have to do with a certain bank in Stormreach. And I'm not just going to, yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it. But nonetheless, certainly if you just sort of look at where everyone's entering and leaving, you'll probably find the answer fairly soon. And, you know, that's the way it goes. Was it expected? I'm sure someone in chat's going to ask, well, did we know that this was going to happen? No. Of course not, right? I don't think we expected those particular containers to, either because we just didn't know we had forgotten about them, or because we weren't quite sure how it was going to interact, or oversight, or whatever. It's a great way to farm lost motes, let me put it that way. So, let's see. However, you know, one of the things that's kind of funny, you know, when you look at something like the that certain particular, you know, the Mimic Hunt and some of the play patterns that people have established from it, you know, this is the debut. This is the debut of the event. It's first time out, so we're putting it out in the wild. Even though we've done certainly plenty of internal testing and that on it, you don't catch everything. And we've been seeing, you know, how folks are taking part in the event and giving us feedback on it. And we plan to do our best to incorporate as much of that as we can into future editions of the Mimic Hunt. So it's actually been pretty fun. I think a lot of folks have been having fun with it. But to my point, sorry to wander a little bit. You know, we have certain things like the Mimic Frenzy that unlocks after a certain number of mimics are killed. And when you have a certain tactic that might cause lots and lots more mimics to be killed in a short period of time, then that impacts the time that the Mimic Frenzy takes place and sort of our number setting and things like that. I think we're largely in a good place right now. So yes, the amount of farming is perhaps higher than we expected. It's higher than we expected. But also, you know, the numbers were a little high to begin with. So it's all kind of balanced out, I think, at the end. Where at least this week, you know, I've been on just about every server. And like, was I in Thelanis on Monday, was it? I think Monday. And it was opening up about every 45 minutes to an hour, which seems about right in terms of the Mimic Frenzy, which runs for 15 minutes. So let me know if you agree. Carpentry has a question about card number 1. I'm sorry, I don't really have time to follow through on some links and read some stuff right now, but I will endeavor to do so later. Let's see. On the upside, it takes care of the Coin Lord's Mimic problem. That it does. That it does. Tortolita asks, can we haste Zircon a bit so he opens up faster? Are you kidding me? No. Sorry, but no. Let's see. Which would be better to save for next time, the lost motes or the cards? Very good question, Rothko. I would say either would probably be an acceptable solution. But if it were me personally, I might save the motes. You know, and that would be falling under the category of you want to save the things that are at their most base level so that no matter what happens, you can sort of turn it into whatever it would unlock. So I don't think you would be wrong if you went the other way and decided to stock up on your mimic cards and just sort of hang on to them as well. But, you know, just with anything, especially a limited duration event, you know, things could come back and be somewhat different. So, but I would say the Lost Motes would probably be my advice there. But you shouldn't read into that there won't be a use for the cards or anything, because there probably will be. I just don't know. Can't predict the future. If we ever get Maybar fixed, Jaren asks, it would be nice to get a new loot table for it. So let me clarify that actually while we have a little bit of time here. When it comes to the Maybar event and a future Halloween event and how the Mimic Hunt has sort of interacted with this whole shebang, I don't think we want to make sure that you guys understand that we're not saying that Maybar directly is going to be sort of repurposed and brought back. It may well be a completely different event. It may be that we're going to keep parts of Maybar and add and create new things. It may be that we might take a look more at Maybar itself, but I don't want people to get the impression that Maybar, as it existed, you know, in 2014, will be making a comeback. The likelihood of that is not very high. So, but something will be making a comeback in that time frame, and that really remains to be seen what it's going to be. It's something that we are discussing internally quite a bit, but not really ready to make any kind of announcement related to what it's going to be yet. All right. Birthday cards ever going to be able to be used again, or just toss them? The 8th anniversary cards will almost certainly not have a use in the future. Again, I would hesitate from promising that they won't, because you never know what someone might decide, you know, 5 years from now or whatever. But, you know, one of the reasons we turned off the card event was due to exploiting. And so we would be loath to make available something that you could do with those cards, because it would cause some problems. So, but you can add them to your image gallery. And so if you do want to hang on to those cards, add them to your image gallery and do that, you know, go ahead. If you want to hang on to them to take a look at them and complete your collection for the event. But if your goal specifically is to hang on to them for the purpose of turning them in for stuff, then you probably do not need them anymore. I'm reading the chat. You guys are keeping me busy in chat. Let me see. Cloak of Night is only useful 12 or so hours at a time? Really? Oh, I get it. That's a joke. Let's see. Civic Spoon says, I hope the plans for the rogue mechanic are shown on the forums soon. That tree needs the most work. We are targeting everything but the rogue mechanic. For short term, we're working on it now. And we are working with the Players Council on some thoughts on the rogue mechanic enhancement tree, but I think due to sort of what we want to do with that tree, it may not make it into update 25. We'll have to see. So will it get to the forums soon? Probably not. But it has been discussed on the Players Council, and we'll get to the live forums when we have a more settled version, I think, of what we're going to do there. Let's see. Since Crystal Cove event is near already, will the gear get a level 28 upgrade? No, we have not done any work to upgrade further Crystal Cove from when it was upgraded the last time. Do Jewels of Fortune stack with the plus loot bonus weekends? Yes, they absolutely do. They also stacks with the Dragon Marks and any other source of loot boost. Deathblock question. The newer version with negative energy absorption inhibits Palemaster heals. Is this working as intended? Probably not. I am aware of that. I have been reading a little bit about this on the forums. Have not yet talked to a dev in particular about it, but I'm sure that they have seen it as well, and I would suspect that it probably is not working as intended. Where are my pants? I think they're in the drawer. Will we be doing a big dev event with loot when Lamania is updated? Yeah, there's a pretty good chance at least I will be on Lamania at some point to sort of hand out loot to folks. It's likely we'll do a character wipe on Lamania for update 25, and so we'll do some work to repopulate people's stuff. So yeah, there's a pretty good chance of that. Let's see. Technical 13 asks, the Mimic event adds new technology to be able to scale chances on chests to scale up or down. Might this technology be used in the future to apply to chances of pulling named loot? That is a very cool idea. I would need to talk to the person who implemented the system to see how portable it might be to other systems, but I don't have an answer for you. You know, I don't have an answer for you, but that's a cool idea, isn't it? Yeah. Does the Temple of Elemental Evil have a connection to the Haunted Halls? Not a direct connection, lore-wise or any of that. So, because yeah, even the Haunted Halls was Forgotten Realms back in the day, and Greyhawk for Temple. The only thing they have in connection is that they are both classic D&D modules. So what's the deal with Vanya Amanatu? I don't know. What is the deal with Vanya Amanatu? Let's see. How many mimics need to be killed, anyway? Forgettable NPC asks. I will tell you. We have the ability to tweak those numbers based on populations, how often the mimic hunt's opening, how frequently people are taking part in the event, that sort of thing. Where it is set right now, and it seems to be a pretty good setting, particularly with, you know, Jesse James days taking place. We are set at 2,000 mimics killed on all of the worlds except for Wayfinder, which is set at 1,000. That's where we are. Over the weekend, Zmorgu says it was more like 1.5 to 2 hours for the Mimic Frenzy opening. Yes, but was that pre or post place that people found? I know, I saw, like I said, I was on Thelanis, geez, 4.5 hours, 5.5 hours on Monday, because I was just in the world, because I was both checking out the world broadcast stuff, you know, just all sorts of things, and so I just sat basically in the marketplace all evening and just waited for the Mimic Hunt to open up, and I was timing it and all the rest, and it was pretty consistently about 45 minutes to an hour on Thelanis on Monday, and that was, you know, not a weekend, but if we need to do some adjustments, you know, we may take a look at that for the future for sure. DDO Trojan says, any plans for a conversion from the Maybar moats to Lost moats? Probably not. And again, that falls under the category of, while there are many people who have many motes legitimately obtained. There is also a lot of motes in the economy, and it would be, if we were to ever debut anything that took care of motes, then a large section of people would just have it without even taking part in the event or whatever we ended up doing. So given that, it's unlikely that we will have an immediate use for those motes. But I know there are plenty of people who did not take part in those things and just have lots of motes and would like to use them. And we have heard that you as well. So undecided on that, but that's some of the things that we're wrestling with there. We are going through, by the way, just so you know, a bit of a quest locking process and a sort of checking process right now. So we're making progress on getting the worlds reopened. Hopefully we'll have some more news in that regard soon. Let's see. Is there any reason to hang on to the D20 that came with the cards? Hazelnut asks. I would say hang on to it. I don't know of any immediate plans to use it, but I'd hate for you to be in a position where you needed it and didn't, or wanted it and didn't have it. Can you get your gallery fixed with a ticket, RD2 Play asks. There was a period of time where the cards were not being preserved in your image gallery through true reincarnation. I don't know the answer to that, but I would say it doesn't hurt to put in a ticket to customer service. So you can probably use the help request in-game and see what they say there. Is the egg hunt gone for good? VIP Chogul asks. No, I wouldn't think so at all. I don't know when the egg hunt's coming back. Maybe this year. I'll have to check with Tolero, see what we want to do with that. But no, it's not gone for good at all, I wouldn't think. Titan asks, is Turbine done with work on Epic Destinies? We don't have any immediate plans to create new Epic Destinies in the next couple of updates. That's about the best I can tell you on that. I would say, as with any of those big systems, surely we're not done for good on it. But next couple updates, I do not think we'll be working on Epic Destinies. Other than perhaps maybe bringing in some ranged power or making some tweaks there. So maybe we will actually do a little bit of work, but I wouldn't expect a new Epic Destiny to happen. Are we working on Caneth crafting now, or is that still in the planning stages? Neither. We are not working on it now. It is something we would like to do, time permitting, and that is where we sit on it. We've said that, recently several times, and that is the state of it. What's going to happen is, as we have a slate that we have let you guys know about of what we are going to be doing this year, and we need to do that. So we need to actually get that work done, and then as we get through that process and open up more time to do other development, we'll be trying to slot in the things that we want to do, and one of those may well be Caneth crafting. But is it going to come in update 27, 28, 29? Are we going to have other priorities that just get shove it out of the way? Are we going to reprioritize it to get it out as soon as we can? All these things are undecided. But we know that you guys want it. We want it too, and it's just a matter of finding the right development time to do it. Do we keep the stats on all that for reference? Do we plan? So you could say plan for upping the mimic trigger over weekends and then lowering it during the week. Yes, we could do that. And yes, we do have some, statistics that we can gather to help us inform us as to what those numbers should be. Absolutely. Let's see. How can you tell from the marketplace when the mimic frenzy starts? The chat, Rothko46 asks, yeah, that is what I have found to be the case, is that in a lot of guild chats and general chats, people are like, hey, the frenzy's here. Another thing you could do if you're just hanging around the marketplace is just wait to see that line of people going into a certain quest. It's probably a good sign that there's a Mimic Frenzy going on. If suddenly the, LFM panel says, looking for a group, Ironstone Inlet, good chance the Mimic Frenzy is going on. So, you're right, that the intended way to know that it's going on is a world broadcast, and that'll be a message that'll pop on the screen saying, basically, Mimic Frenzy's here, and that is not working right now. So, there is no other way, currently, to know. When will there be Warlocks in DDO? It's something we're looking at. No time frame to announce, but it's something we're looking at. Someone has a bug with every light casts a shadow, a tier 5 Henshin Mystic issue. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to be able to address that question, but I can try to remember to look into it this afternoon. Have we fixed the collector that takes collectibles and doesn't give an augment for it? I am not aware of that collector that takes collectibles and does not give you an augment for it. Let me know more about that, and I'll see where we are on that. Do we get a shot at codes, given that the servers are down today? That is difficult, right? Because I can't give you the codes because you can't enter the codes. I mean, I could put the codes into chat, and then when the worlds come back up, it could just be a mad rush to see who gets there first. I guess I could do that. Not very nice, but it would allow some folks to get turbine point codes. I don't know, we'll have to see. Can we get more loot, Titan asks, that are the scintillating, mauling, wintry sun's fury in the loot tables? We've been having discussions about that. We'll let you know what we come up with there. Where do I complain about House K about their service? The lines at the bank have been really, really long, Darius says. Yeah, well, sometimes when all of a sudden you become really popular. So. Let's see. I think, let's see. What else can we talk about? I know we're running actually pretty, how did I manage to talk for an hour? Imagine that. So there's a couple of things I wanted to mention before we wrap up the show here this week. First off, this is PAX East weekend in Boston. If you are going to the Penny Arcade Expo East, get in touch with me. I have DDO swag. I have very few, if any, extra large versions of t-shirts and hoodies. But I have other versions of t-shirts and hoodies that could be yours if you find me at PAX East. And I'm going to make it as easy to find me as I can. I'm going to be twittering out. As a matter of fact, if you tweet to @DDO Unlimited, I will see it. And I will get to you at PAX East. And we will get you stuff. We are a delivery service sometimes. I mean, we may have to wait for time available and all that, but I will absolutely be working to give you guys some swag. So if you are attending PAX East and you want DDO stuff, get in touch with me or stay tuned on our Twitter feed, and I will also be announcing some times where I'm just going to be sitting at the WB Games booth, and you can just stop by and pick up some stuff there. Yes, there is a WB Games booth. Turbine will have a large presence there, and that is for Infinite Crisis, our MOBA that we're working on. And I think we got some big news that we'll be talking about a little bit later on that. And so that's going to be one of our big focuses for PAX East this year. And I'm going to be working the booth on Friday and Sunday. I believe it's Sunday afternoon, Friday morning, something like that. And then Saturday is dedicated to DDO. So I'm going to be meeting up with DDO players throughout the day, giving them swag, hanging out, having fun, helping out as necessary. And then on Saturday evening, we are planning to have a very casual DDO meetup. So if you are a DDO player and you would like to hang out with me and perhaps at least a couple of the devs, one or two, depending who can show up on their own dime, we're going to do that, and we're tentatively targeting No Name Restaurant. It's kind of by the pier, by the Boston Convention Center. It's within walking distance of the convention center. So there's a chance we're going to get there on Saturday night, and all of a sudden they're going to be like, nope, and we'll have to find someplace else. But you can stay tuned in our Twitter feed and social media to find out more about that. And you can also find us at PAX. We are going to be in the main exhibit hall. You can't miss the WB Games booth because it's going to be huge. And just look for the big WB Games sign, Infinite Crisis. I believe Mortal Kombat's going to be there. I don't know what else we got going on. Things that may or may not be being published fairly soon by Warner Brothers Games. And all sorts of cool stuff. So, and if you want to stop by and take part of the Infinite Crisis things, I know we're doing a bunch of swag giveaways and have some really fun, like, carnival games and things we'll be doing. So you should stop by and say hi for that. Otherwise, hope you have a fun PAX East. Be safe, and please stay tuned to our social media, and we would love to say hello to you. Otherwise, I did want to mention one other quick thing. I know that in our chat room occasionally, we have had folks in the New England area who are into computers and IT and have often tweeted me, DM'd me, chatted at me and things like that saying, how can I get a job at Turbine? How can I get into the games industry? Let me give you a tip. On Thursday evening, the Massachusetts Digital Council, called MassDigi, is having a pre-PAX party. And this is on the MIT campus. And Turbine is a sponsor of it, along with some other game development studios and things like that, including up to Microsoft. And there's going to be a lot of people there that are going to be talking about recruiting and talking about their open positions, the skill sets they're looking for. Great way to network. So if that is you, if you're just getting out of game school or going to college and want to get a job in the games industry, I would highly encourage that you check this out. You may even be able to, talk to the person who may end up hiring you a few months from now. So keep an eye out for that. And you can find out more information just by doing a Google search for that. Like I say, we're not directly involved other than we're a sponsor, and I'm going to be there because it's a fun time. But there's a lot of good opportunity there. So if that's you, and I know that there are some of you out there, don't pass up this opportunity because it doesn't come along too often. And it's a really good thing to do. So, and I think that's going to do it with our live stream. Thanks very much for joining us. We will be back in a half hour, and hopefully the worlds will be open by then. Looks like there's some chance of that. Or we won't be back in a half hour. But either way, I'll be chatting with you on the chat room, and we'll have the announcement as soon as the worlds are open and all that sort of thing. So, let me type in. Who is in charge of estimating downtime? Really, it's our IT department that does that, and they are actually pretty good at it. But today so I guess let me just explain a little bit what's going on. We're not really doing a whole lot of DDO specific work today. What's going on is we're doing some major IT work in our office today, having to do with, like, say, various data centers and technologies and things like that. And as with any kind of thing where you're, say, swapping out a room of hardware and bringing in something else or whatever, sometimes things come up. And things came up. So we're currently extended our downtime. No ETA, but hopefully we should get it. We're nearing the process of getting the worlds open. So hopefully within half hour to an hour things should be open. But we'll see what happens. And what I'm going to do is just hang off on Galanda. We'll just start our Galanda cycle whenever I get the opportunity to do so. What is this week's bonus? I forgot to look. Let me dig that up here before I go. Alright, so we are at Guild Renown. Guild Renown plus 25% will be running through the weekend. So that is the event, in addition to the Mimic Hunt, of course, also running through the weekend as well. So those is your events. All right. Do I like Dr. Pepper? Yeah, I like Dr. Pepper just fine. Thank you, Jerry, for keeping us on the forum what is going on. So just so you know, I cannot log into my Cordovan account to post in the forums. And that's to do with the same IT issues that are going on that's causing a delay here. So I can't actually tell people on the forums that we're having these issues, which is why it's really important to consider following us for these kind of downtime things on, say, Facebook, Twitter, because we can always get to those. That worked. You know, it's a good way to go if you're not seeing anything on the forums or whatever to get the latest info. All right, so thank you very much for joining us at this weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream, which streams live every Wednesday starting at noon Eastern, -5 GMT on twitch.tv/DDOstream. Thanks very much, and we will see you again soon.